I am so excited about our life. I feel so, I want to tell our story with the idea that a brand new person who's seen this business has gotten this CD in their info system, and they're listening to what a couple's life who have been wealthy, who have been debt-free and financially free and haven't had a job for the last 15, 16 years. So I keep trying to put that in my mind as I tell you our story, because I feel so grateful, because we probably are where a lot of you are or have been in our past, and I'll go through a little bit of our history and kind of where we were when we saw this business. But we live the coolest life that I know. I don't care how much money you make and what you do on your own outside of this business, there's not a life that can compare to being rich and free, being a diamond, having the respect of heroes in your life, being the hero to your kids, having goals and dreams that you're working towards, having incredible places that you're going, and you're not just going by yourself because everyone else has a job, and you're going with friends and associates and other diamond couples, and the goal is to have all the people in your business come along with you, because our goal is to travel the beaches of the world with people in our group. And with you, for people that have the smoke on their back, that are really building this business, that have great dreams and desires for their family. That's who we want to hang out with for the rest of our life. It's a character of people that you are, that we want to hang around and travel the beaches of the world with. And that's kind of what we do. That's what we've been doing for the last 16 years. We've been in this business 18 years. And we've been married for 26 years. So when we got in this business, we've been married, what does that make it? 8. We've been married 8 years. Our big claim to fame was that we had made it past the 7-year itch. And because all of our friends and family, and Glenn and I have decided, you know what, we're going to stand and be the one couple in both of our families. Our families were Christians, they were very spiritual, everyone was successful, we had doctors, we have preachers, we have everyone in our family. Glenn and I are going to stand as the one couple in our family that starts a legacy through the rest of our heritage of not being divorced. Everyone else in our family has been divorced. And so we've decided that for our family and for our children and our generations, we're going to start something new. And we're going to start being cool as the married thing, is the cool thing to be. Being married, being cool. Being married. Being married is the cool thing to do. And we hang around with people that think that same way. That being married is the glue that holds us all together, that holds our families and our kids together. And so I feel so blessed and grateful for how we've lived because of this business. We have done some of the most awesome things and experienced some of the most awesome things growing in this business all along the way. The trips we've taken, the people we've gone with. We've gone to Greece on private 727s, on Amway's 727 jet, and gone to Greece and then got on their Enterprise almost 200-foot yacht. It's a ship, I guess it is. It's a ship. It has like 5 staterooms and kitchens and dining rooms and living rooms. And we cruised around the Greek islands with 4 of our heroes in the business just for a whole week. It's like we were gazillionaires. That's how we felt. We felt like we were gazillionaires. We'd pull into ports, and Glenn and Brad Duncan would be standing on the back of the boat, 'cause they'd have to kind of back the boat in. They'd have to be guided in, because next to all other, yachts that you would think are like $1 million yachts, we dwarfed them. It was amazing. We had jacuzzis on the yacht. It was just awesome. So we'd back in, and Glenn and Brad would be going, bring her back. And all the island people, in Greece, they thought that we owned this yacht. And so we just truly played that up for all it was worth. And flying on the jet, you guys, the jet had like a living room in it. It had bathrooms. We could take a shower while we were flying. I think our trip was like 17, 18 hours. And it was the most relaxed. It was like constant food. We had, flight attendants just constantly making up food in the kitchen and bringing it to us. We'd watch movies. We had magazines. We'd go and take a nap. We'd go take a shower. We'd go back to the dining room and sit at the table. That's flying to Greece. That's the way to travel. Let me tell you, we would have never done that if it wouldn't have been for this business. We've been to South Africa, been on a hunt in South Africa, stayed at the palace. We don't pay for this stuff. This is what we've been able to do because of this business. We haven't paid for any of that. We've done that for a couple weeks at a time. We've gone to, Amway owns an island out in the Caribbean called Peter Island. They own this island. It's a resort. It would cost you $30,000, $40,000 for the week if you wanted to go there and stay there. We go, and it's like we own the island. We have full staff. We have servants. We have people that make us any food we want. Anything we want to do, we can do on that island. And there's usually about 20 or so of us couples, qualified diamonds, that go on that trip. And I think we've gone 10 times to Peter Island. And it's a multi-millionaire type of life. But those are the kinds. Hawaii. Do you guys like Hawaii? Hawaii is one of our favorite places to go. Glen is Hawaiian. His heritage is Hawaiian. So last year I think we went 4 times. We love Hawaii. We just go and we just meld right in. You'd think we were locals, except for I don't look Hawaiian at all. That's the only thing. But we love that trip. And so the things you're able to do from building this business will blow you away. It's like you don't know people that live like this and do these kinds of things. It's going from living an ordinary, great life to living an unbelievable, extraordinary life. That's what you get from building this business, because you're not just making a lot of money and you got to spend a lot of time in an office. You're making a lot of money and you have all the free time in the world to do whatever you want to do, whatever your dreams are. But so those are kind of the things we've done in this business. We raised our kids. Our kids were 3 and 5 when we got in the business. And like I said, we've been married 8 years. I was working as a dental hygienist. Glenn was working as an insurance broker. We were just going along in life like all the rest of our neighbors. We were just an average young couple raising our kids. And you know what? Most of the people that we knew felt kind of like us. They were in debt. They were getting stressed out. There was no one teaching them to work on their marriage. Being married 26 years, that takes work. It's not just a cakewalk. You got to work at staying married. And with all the forces in this world coming against you, with the media, with magazines, with movies, everything saying that, get divorced and, you're happy with somebody else and the grass is greener on the other side. To be in this business is like a breath of fresh air. And so we've been married for almost 8 years. We were frustrated. We had probably over $100,000 in credit card debts that we had built up just because, number one, we didn't know how to budget. Number two, we didn't have the money to budget with. Number three, Glenn and I loved to play. We loved to golf. We loved to snow ski. We loved to water ski. We were river rats. We loved going out to dinners. We loved going to movies. We liked to go and play and do things. We live in Southern California. Within an hour, you can be at the beach or the ocean or Palm Springs or the desert. You can there's so much to do. There's so much life to live that being in a job just kind of sucks, just kind of really ruins things. And so our jobs were getting in the way. The things we'd like to do were getting in the way. Our jobs weren't designed. Being a dental hygienist, not that I hated my job, but being a dental hygienist and an insurance guy, those jobs weren't designed for us to be wealthy and rich and free. That's not even what they're designed to do. They're designed to make some money, to pay off some little bills, to live in a standard house. In fact, people think it's funny, my kids knew the term track house from the time they were like 6 years old. They knew we lived in a track house because they knew we wanted to build a dream house and live in a custom home and buy land. And, we'd start dream building with our kids from the time we got in this business. And we wouldn't have known to do that if we hadn't been exposed to this business. We were taught to dream once we saw this business. And, we weren't growing together as a couple. We didn't have goals that we were setting. We didn't have things that we were shooting for, trips that we were planning for, dreams to accomplish. There was nothing bringing the two of us together to work forward in a goal and forward as a couple and forward as a family, that we weren't growing personally. That just doesn't happen in normal life. It's not a normal environment. So you see this business is like a life enrichment, leadership development system. That's what it is. And so take advantage of going to the functions and listening to the CDs, because that's truly going to transform the way you think. And you'll become the person you're going to become is going to be determined by the way you think and the people that you associate with. So we needed to start associating with people that were dreamers, that were growers, that had goals and dreams in their life, and people that could help us do those things. We saw this business, and like I said, it was like a breath of fresh air. An old classmate of Glenn's, and he'll tell you how that happened, but an old classmate of Glenn's showed us this plan, and it was just kind of at the right time in our lives where we were just kind of open to seeing something else because we were just getting tired. We were getting tired of fighting over bills. I'm sorry, but my mom taught me at a young age, and not that this is right, but when there's no money, love flies out the window. And so she was a little bit worried about Glenn being an insurance guy. But I mean, it's just true when you're always stressed about money and about paying bills and about, can you pay this, or creditors calling, or when you're always stressed about that, that puts a strain on your relationship, and it puts a strain on your marriage. And so we were strained and stressed. And so when we saw this business, this was a way for us to stop the insanity. I mean, we truly saw this as a way to get our dreams back. A way to, we never even knew that the option of being rich and free and not having a job, of being wealthy, of traveling the world, of buying everything for cash, of having a private jet ourselves, we didn't even know that that kind of life was available. I didn't know anyone that lived like that. Do you guys? I mean, the majority of you probably don't know people that live like that. And then to be able to help other people do that same thing, we just don't know people that live like that outside of this business. And so we saw this business as the answer to our financial future. I mean, from the first function we went to, it was about a week into the business, and our sponsor said, we need to go down and see Joe and Norma Folio. They were a brand new diamond couple in San Diego. You need to go see them. And we saw them, listen to their story, and we made a decision that night that this was our answer. This is what was going to solve our problems. This is what was going to get us out of our financial things. This is what was going to help our marriage. This was going to bring us back together. It was going to get us dreaming again. And we started dreaming as a couple and dreaming as a family. And we made this business a priority in our life because this was our $1 million business. This was our answer. So what our upline taught us to do, because we had storm. Everybody has storms in their life. I say the debts we had, the bills we had, the IRS junk we had, the stresses on our relationship, our marriage, or just all the kind of stuff that we had going on in our life, the frustrations we had where we were, not being fulfilled as a couple, as a family. Have you ever heard the example of putting a frog in a pot of cold water and gently turning up the heat, and before you even know it, that little frog is kind of boiled? Well, that's kind of like what I look like, kind of what our life was like. We were just a normal couple out of college, happy-go-lucky, living in a neighborhood, buying a house we couldn't afford, leasing cars because our boss said lease them, just getting in debt, putting things on credit card, not being able to pay for what we were doing, and we were just getting boiled. That water was the heat was just getting turned up a little bit by little bit by little bit, and before we know it, it wasn't a drastic thing. We didn't have a drastic, it's not like we were living like the guy in Pursuit of Happiness. We weren't on the street. We were an average, normal couple that had, decent jobs, that were frustrated with life. And that's what we have found through all of our family members, through most of our friends outside of this business, is everyone is kind of like the heat has just gotten turned up, and everyone's really just a little frustrated in their life. And they are truly not fulfilled and not happy. And so this business, we decided to make it a priority in our life, which meant we stuck everything in this business we put first. Because we wanted the life we wanted for our kids, because we wanted the life we wanted for ourselves, we wanted to get out of debt, we wanted those things to happen, so we made this business come first. We put it in our calendar first, so we'd put the functions, when the functions would come around, we knew this is what was going to help us build our business. This is what was going to help us get a diamond state of mind, a success attitude. This was going to help us become wealthy, to be these functions. So we put the functions in our calendar first. We'd put anything that had to do with this business went in our planner, in our calendar first, and then we'd plan everything else around them. So this business came first, because this was our answer to our financial future. Everything else was just frivolous. It was just time-consuming things. And so we put this business first. We built our business, like I said, through the storms in our life. Everyone has them. Everyone has bills. Everyone has debts. Everyone has illness issues that go on in their family. We've lost parents while we've been building this business. And what I would recommend, if you have storms going on in your life, if you don't have them now, they're coming, because stuff happens in everybody's life, whether you're building this business or not. But what I'd recommend is don't say, I'm going to wait until we kind of get this settled, and until we get this taken care of and we get this cleaned up, and then we'll start building the business. What I recommend you do is build this business through the storms. And tell you what, most of your storms in your life, if you threw $500,000 at them, most of them would be gone. And what wasn't gone, you would now have the time to really analyze and look and work on the real issues that you have and what's really the problem. And that's what we found. It's not that Glenn and I didn't like each other. It's that we were just so stressed we couldn't see beyond our problems. We couldn't see beyond them until we saw this business. And then we stopped focusing on our problems and we started looking at the solution. And we became very solution-oriented. That's all we thought about, all we talked about, that's what we focused on, is that this was our solution. So that's what we focused on. And that's what got us through those years until we could overwhelm ourselves with money. I read in a book called The Enemy Called Average that a double-minded person is unstable in all of his ways. So we had jobs when we got in this business. We did what we had to do at our jobs to keep everybody happy. I was a good hygienist. Glenn did what he needed to do with his clients. And then we built this business like crazy. We weren't looking for other ways of making money. We weren't focused on our jobs. We were focused on this business. So we were single-minded. And what we see people do is they'll be building this business and something else will come along, an investment will come along, they'll think they can make a quick, couple $100,000 at, or buying a house comes along, or something comes along, and they get double-minded and start looking at something else to actually fulfill some of those dreams, to actually take care of some of those financial things. And we go, you know what? If you would just put your blinders on, stick your fingers in your ears and say la 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 when someone starts spreading negative to you, and you build this business like crazy, you will overwhelm yourself with money and time. You'll be able to just wash all those problems that you have and all those bills and debts and stuff. You'll be able to wash those out of your life. They won't even be an issue. Our upline told us to keep the wolves away from the door. And, there's lots of different kinds of wolves. For us, it was creditors calling. It was the IRS stuff coming down. There was times when I couldn't even get paid as a hygienist because my dentist couldn't give me a paycheck. He had to send it all right into the government. There's negative people in your life, whether it's family or friends. Those are wolves that come knocking at your door. Well-meaning family and friends. And you know what? What we were taught is when there's negative people in your life, you just run away. Don't try to stay there and fight them and claw and stuff. Just run away. Just eliminate the negative from your life as much as you can while you're building this business. Because negative just sucks the creative energy right out of you. It sucks your dreams right out of you. So this is going to sound maybe a little weird. We stopped watching all the news, reading all the newspapers, listening to all the junk that was happening in all the movie stars' lives. That had no effect on us. I didn't care if Brad and Jennifer split and he went with somebody else. Yeah, that's the world. We're trying to create something different here. We're trying to get our kids to realize, you know what, we're building an awesome legacy and an awesome family, an awesome environment for you to grow in. And so there's lots of wolves. There's great investments that seem to come along. Those are wolves that take your focus off of building this business. There's job promotions. To me, that's a wolf that comes along. And job promotions, you have your own. You have your own set of wolves that are knocking at your door. And so you just got to keep the wolves away from the door, keep your blinders on, and go build this business. If this is your answer, you got to build this business. So what do we do? 5 months later, 5 months from the time we started in this business, I was able to quit my job. So here I went through dental school, went through college, went through dental school, and within 5 months I replaced my income. That tells you a lot about the dental profession. You know what, and it's like I said, it's not that I hated being a hygienist. I liked doing that. I'm kind of a creative person. I like drawing things. I like painting stuff. I like working with my hands. And, there was nothing wrong with being a hygienist. But if I had to choose between going to work at a dental office and cleaning teeth versus taking my kids to the beach and being free and meeting Glenn for lunch, I'd do that all day long. I'd be with my kids all day long versus being a hygienist. So those were my choices at 5 months. Okay, do I want to keep working? If I have the same income, do I want to keep working or do I want to be home with my kids? And I chose to be home with my kids. So, that's what I chose to do. And you know what? It's not like we're telling you, hey, you don't have to want to come home. You don't have to want to get free. That was my dream. My dream was to get free and be home. I hated leaving my kids crying at the screen door when I had to get up in the morning and leave. I hated being gone all day. I made it through it, and by the time I got there and kind of got into it, everything worked okay, but I wanted to be home with my kids. Once I knew it was an option. When I didn't know it was an option, I wouldn't even let those thoughts go through my brain because it's, you just get too unhappy. So, but once I knew that was an option, then that's what I wanted to do. I mean, tell you what, that was almost like there was a flicker, a little candle inside of me, and someone was blowing that candle, and it was just blowing into a flame, and I could not wait to get free to get home with my kids. I'm not saying that you're going to just come home and sit and do nothing. I have become a leader of women in our business with thousands of women in it. That's what you're going to be. So it's not like you're going to need to feel like as you build this business and you grow and maybe you quit your job and home with your kids, it's not like you're going to feel unfulfilled, like you need to go out and get another career or you need to accomplish something yourself. You're going to have that sense of fulfillment and accomplishment from building this business because you are an owner. If you're a husband and wife in this business, you are an owner. I mean, it's unbelievable. I guess, the accomplishment that you'll feel from that, and the satisfaction and the growth and the encouragement, because you're taking your eyes off yourself, and everything you do is putting it on other people, is focusing on people that you've gotten in your business and helping them grow. And that's very satisfying and very fulfilling, is to take your eyes off yourself and help somebody else. In 3.5 years, we went diamond. And Glenn, he's going to kind of fill in some of these spaces. But in 3.5 years, we went diamond. And that year, we paid off every bill we had. So I think Hillary asked me earlier, so what'd you do like between emerald and diamond? Well, we went emerald, and 6 months later, we went diamond. So we didn't have time for like income to kind of catch up with us. But we were building this business. This was our focus. So by the time we went diamond, we were emerald with 3 legs. By the time we went diamond with 8 legs. So the money kind of like started like overwhelming. You talk about being overwhelmed with income. So we paid off like over $150,000 in bills, in credit card bills, in IRS stuff. We bought cars for cash. We had bought our dream truck that we had given up early on in the business. This might sound silly to you, but we were river people. We had like a ski nautic boat and did, the competition water skiing stuff and jet skis and did a lot of river stuff. So we bought like a big Ford F-350 crew cab, lifted, big, huge tires, all tinted windows. In fact, Worldwide came and videoed it when we did it, because we just paid cash. It was just awesome, just going in and paying cash for that. That's after 3.5 years of being in the business, you guys. Here's what I look at. In 5 years, look at where you're at right now, and in 5 years, I'll tell you where we went from. You can look at your situation. In 5 years, we went from being in debt, having jobs, stressed out, no dreams, not really going anywhere, frustrated with each other, to owning 14 acres with a 5,000 square foot house, having painters come in and custom paint my house, having decorators come in, owning our cars cash, having no bills, having no IRS junk. It was like an extreme makeover. You want to talk about extreme makeovers? That's what you will be in this business. Your life will be an extreme makeover in this business if you build it. So really quick, you can obviously figure out what money can do for you, and it's your dream. You can do what you want to do when you're wealthy and you have all the time you want. You can do what you want to do. But what it probably gives us the most satisfaction is we've raised our kids in this business. We've raised them around you. We've raised them listening to the CDs, listening to Diamond State of Mind, listening to success principles and leadership principles. And so our kids who were 3 and 5 are now 21 and 23. Summer's 21. She is going diamond in this business. Whether it's single or married, she doesn't care. She's going diamond. This is all she wants. This is what she does. She's gotten into health and fitness. She loves figure competition stuff. She's an awesome, gorgeous girl. And all she can think about is she wants to be a diamond, and she wants the respect of Ron and Georgia Lee and her parents and the other diamonds in this business. Trevor and Lexi. Trevor's 23 years old. Summer's downline from Trevor. Trevor's 23 years old. He got married 2 years ago to Lexi, who he met at a function. So they went to an FED and they met there. Fell in love. The two of them are smoking in this business. He's probably going to be going ruby this month, and it wouldn't surprise me if they go emerald and diamond this year. They have got just a smoking business, and they are just a success couple. They are dynamos working together, rowing together, and keeping their blinders on. And they have their own storms they're going through. Nobody is, excluded from going through junk in their lives because we live in this world. But our kids are awesome, and they've grown up in this business, and so we're growing with our kids and dreaming with our kids and planning our futures with our kids and passing this legacy down through our family. And then I just want to finish with, I have an awesome husband. I have a husband who is passionate about what he believes in, who's passionate about this business, who is willing to set his pride and ego aside and realize, you know what? We do have some stinking challenges in our life, and I'm willing to submit to our upline, to Gary and Dorothy Lowry, to Bob and Betty Wells, to Ron and Georgia Lee Pereira, submit to our upline and get some help from someone on getting our life straightened out and getting our family straightened out. And he is awesome. He's an incredible leader, an incredible dad. We have the funnest time together, and thank you, honey, for building this business. It's been great.
You were awesome. Good job, babe. Believe me, it is an unbelievable treat to watch your wife doing that, speaking in front of a crowd and a group, obviously, but just being a diamond. I know you men out there, you want your wives to be diamonds. Like me, I'd be totally honest with you. When we first got involved in this business, my wife was a diamond, and I wasn't. She had a great heart, great love for people, no real baggage. We met in college, and it wasn't love at first sight. It was kind of an interesting beginning, and we don't have the time for all that, but met in college. It was just a wonderful time. But, quickly life catches up. You get married. I became an insurance broker. I think I mentioned during the seminar today or tonight, I mentioned, how many of you do what you do by accident? And I'd be honest with you, I was, floundering, a college dropout, floundering basically, and there's a lot of story in there which I won't go into, but floundering. And finally I found myself, seeking a job at a location at somebody who I was impressed with their outer appearance. They drove a Mercedes, dressed in the finest suit, somebody my mom who had known, and I found myself involved in the insurance industry, 11 years. And we found ourselves buying a condo, and then we found ourselves buying our first actual home with land, the whole bit, and we found ourselves following the direction that I had been given, and that was go into debt, put a little debt behind you, and that'll motivate you to get out and get to work. In sales, that works until finally you hit a wall, and I hit the wall. A couple years before anybody ever showed us this business, I, as a man, I'd basically lost my dream. I had gone into a major funk, a fog, if you will. I don't know if anybody can relate to that. I just went to where I went through the motions. I got so good at what I did, I just went through the motions, made the calls I needed to make, go home. The joy was gone, no question about it. Really, 2 years before anybody sat down and showed us this plan. We were totally in debt because that's what we were taught. That was the mentorship that we had. We were busy, doing busy things. One could call it lazy. There was a lot of things we did that were completely unproductive. We were doing things, spending money we shouldn't even be spending. We were friends with people who are now in our business, and we, before the business, would do all kinds of things: river trips, mammoth trips, always on credit. We had credit cards that were maxed out. We had the IRS chasing us. I used to believe with all my heart that there was nobody on the planet Earth that could have ever had like an IRS lien against their home, and so I'd never really talked about it until we finally went diamond and paid it all off. And then I was amazed to find out how many people would come out of the woodwork going, "Hey, we've got a similar thing." And most people don't have a lien. They have that other thing that happens to the wages. Well, it sounds like everybody's very familiar with that. But Joya mentioned it. We couldn't even use her paycheck. The doggone thing was going to pay our taxes, and we were going further and further behind in the taxes. And understand, all the while, we looked good, we smelled good, we drove the, new cars. They weren't great cars. At the time, we were driving, what did we have, a Volkswagen Jetta and a Nissan Pulsar. I had the Nissan Pulsar so I could drive something that at least looked like it was a rich car. And now that I look back on it, I'm going, are you kidding me? A Nissan Pulsar? You got to be kidding me. It had a T-top, and man, I was happening. All leased, and I got to tell you, gang, and our money was running out. We didn't have any savings. I'm just trying to give you the picture of where we were so you understand. And then out of the blue, somebody decides to give me a call, a whole high school classmate. Some of you may remember the name, Brenton City Robbins, still involved, not active, wonderful people, wonderful friends of ours. We cannot thank them enough that they went out of their way 4 separate times as we kind of blew it off. If you remember the story, they'd call us up and I'd cancel. They'd call us up and I'd cancel. They'd call us up and I'd cancel. And the 4th time he decided just to come over to the house anyway. And I had left a message on his phone saying, hey, we're not going to be able to make it, and he came anyway. And he sat there and he showed us the plan, and to be honest with you, it was maybe the worst plan I've ever seen in my life. Don't even remember it, to be honest with you. But we do remember a couple things. He talked about debt-free. He talked about time. He talked about money. He talked about motor coaches of all things, and we weren't a big fan of motor coaches or anything like that. And it was amazing. He got us just and promoted and edified other upcoming things. I think the very first function we ever went to right out of that plan was we went to a Joe and Norma Folio rally. And to be honest with you, I did everything in my power to try to come up with something that we could do instead of going I had all day to think of something not to go to that rally. And that's kind of, even though we'd seen the plan, I was still mentally that way, to be honest with you. And Joya, I'll be truthful, Joya on the other end, she's going, please go, please go. She'd made the statement to me, if we don't do this, then what? And that irritated me. And you irritate, and you get a huge status, huge ego, very out of control, Nobody could tell me what to do. And I thought I was at the top of my game, making $100,000 a year. In fact, I really believed if I could ever, in 1987, I thought if I could ever get to $100,000 a year, I'm going to be set. Oh, baby. Then the problem is, oh, baby. Then you have babies. Then you have things. And I'm telling you right now, we like doing things. We like spending money. And I'm telling you, I don't know how people do it then, and I even more seriously don't know how families do it today. I mean, my personal belief is families are in trouble out there. I don't know how our kids intend to do it in the workplace. Of course, you've heard all kinds of comments about it. So we saw the plan. I decided to flush ego. I decided to flush what I thought I knew. I decided to really kind of, let Joya, she saw it, man. I got to tell you, man, when a wife sees this thing and you don't, you're in trouble. I'm just telling you, man, it's an ugly day. And she saw every bit of it, and she saw more in me than even I did, to be honest with you. I was cowering behind the remote control, wasting, being busy. I spell busy, L-A-Z-Y, in most people's lives. That's where I was, to be honest with you. Doing all kinds of crazy nonsense things. And all of a sudden, we made the decision. And what was the decision? Well, that we were going to do it. And I'm not one. I've not jumped in and out of 100 things. To be truthful with you, I've never really given my all to anything. I never gave it to the insurance business, sort of half-hearted. I've done a lot of athletics in my life. I've never really gone full-fledged. I can honestly say I've never really given my all to anything, but somehow this business, that function, Joe and Norma Folio, another couple functions after that started to hit my heart, and I started to realize if I got a wife this excited, she was never this excited about the insurance business. In fact, I was never excited about dental hygiene either. What's she going to do, come home and tell me about her flack picking experience? I don't know if that's... And what am I going to do, tell her about my most recent policy I just wrote? I mean, that just doesn't sound all that exciting. I mean, that's, what are we going to talk about? And she was excited. And I decided, okay, this is what we're going to do. And we literally put a stop, which is difficult for some people, but some people won't do it. They're not willing to look at the prize and literally stop the insanity of things that they've muddled up in their life that are literally things that are, and life's things and life's occurrences and time drains and all this kind of stuff. I cannot tell you how many people they either don't see it, maybe they need the help of their upline, or they can't really acknowledge that it would almost be better if you just kind of flushed all the stuff, got back to square one, so that you could get yourself focused on getting the job done, and so you don't have all these energy drains going out. I had energy drains going everywhere. Man, I was on slow-pitch softball teams. I was a sub on slow-pitch softball teams. I was big-time racquetball. Never made any money in it, but I was like an open player, and I'd go down and spend 2 or 3 days a week. Literally, I'd leave the office at 5, go spend until 8 o'clock playing racquetball with a bunch of people. And let me tell you what's happened 18 years later. We left that scene. Those same people are still there. Their lives haven't changed one bit. The group is the same as it was 18 years ago. They're just 18 years older. It's the most amazing thing we've ever done. We cleared our schedule. We totally decided that, even with some of the people that were in our sphere of influence and were in our group of friends that we got in the business, it was quite clear that those days were over in our lives, and we were going to make every moment clear it up so that we could get out and build this business. And they knew. I mean, we'd even sometimes book dinners and trips and things like that, and if a plan came up, they knew. And so consequently, they started to take on that same approach. We literally totally stripped ourselves, got rid of things that were money drains. We had a big, giant Ford F-350 lifted with really radical rims on it. In fact, we had that in 1985. Now it's real popular. Back then, we were driving around in something that is a big hit today. We had that way back then, but it was killing us financially. And I absolutely remember the day I made the decision. I go, that's out of here. We saw Joya's crying with tears down her eyes. I mean, that's kind of where we were. We weren't really materialistic in that sense, but boy, she just thought, here's what she thought, well, are we ever going to have one of those again? And the truth was, we could buy so many of those, it's ridiculous. It's not that big a deal, if you understand that. We did whatever it took. And that's the message that you got to understand. In today's environment, what I would try to challenge you to do, whatever it took. I mean, what do we do? Well, exactly what we taught you today. We found ourselves contacting, inviting. We've started with family and friends. We put this plan in front of people. We weren't necessarily 5-night-a-weekers. We were going to show this plan every chance we could and every opportunity we can. We did everything we could to be sitting in somebody's living room and then just bleeding the passion on people, talking about the dream, talking about finding their want, need, and desire. Probably the most important thing is we found our want, need, and desire. We needed to make sure we went around and found their want, need, and desire. And we found ourselves pouring our lives into them, taking our extra time and extra money, taking my ego and status and getting it. Nothing wrong with a big, strong ego. I think if you want to be a diamond in this business, you ought to have a strong ego. You just got to get it in check. I got mine in check. My sponsor, my upline diamond, made sure of that as much as he possibly could, because I had a strong one. I still do. Status became completely unimportant to me. No longer did it matter to me whether I had some corporate position. I was the vice president there at this insurance agency for a period of time. No longer did that mean anything to me. What meant everything in the world to me was freedom. And that meant financial and personal freedom. And, we just focused our efforts and focused our time, and we began to create this battle cry that this is the answer to your financial future. That kind of became our motto, if you will, of everywhere we went. This is the answer to your financial future. Not big, not really that awesome, but we just started talking about it. We talked about sea on the beaches. We've got dreams up on our walls. We put dreams up in our kitchen. We put dreams on our refrigerator. We made a mess of dreams. We wrote with those old marker pins on mirrors in our bathroom. We wrote on the toilet seat. You remember the old statement? You wrote on the toilet. So as soon as you flip the toilet seat up, it says, if you gotta go diamond. We did it all. And I'll be truthful with you. Some of you're too classy, maybe. You think, well, hey, I'll never do that. Well, get over it. I'm telling you right now, there is nothing out in this marketplace that I don't care. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for professional people for what they've accomplished. Dentists, doctors, attorneys. I have the utmost of respect. But I don't care what you can name. Nothing can touch the lifestyle that Diamond offers. Nothing can touch it. In fact, the truth is, in this environment we live in today, nothing can touch the worldwide system from a training standpoint and a mentoring standpoint, and the hugeness with which all the diamonds, 30, 40 diamond couples that have emulated and duplicated what needs to be done. And we have a system that's so absolutely pure and right, it's unbelievable. Is it perfect? Nothing's perfect. Nothing's perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. But we strive our absolute utmost to do the right thing and have the right integrity and follow the right course. And our number one goal within the worldwide system is to take this business vehicle and make sure that the brand newest person getting in this business has a better start than I had in this business. And I'm on that management team. My number one goal is to make sure your start in this business is, I don't want to say easier, but because easier is not really, how does it get any easier than the way this plan has been developed today and the way you just have a website and you can just drive traffic to it to make money? I mean, worldwide, through Dick Davis and Ron Perer's leadership and the management team and all the diamonds and all of the emeralds and all of the sapphires and all the rubies and platinums and Q12 platinums and all the things we have, I mean, it is an awesome team, and we just beg of people to understand that if they just be willing to clear their schedule, put focus on this business, make this business a priority for a burst of energy of time, just a period of time, be consistent and persistent in it. Don't get in and flash in the pan and all of us and get, one of the things, the more successful you become in the business, the more I've realized I need more help from my more senior upline than ever. The bigger my pen gets, the more I need to be in submission to somebody who's bigger than me, because the bigger I get, the bigger the load I have. I mean, in the people sense, you understand our freedom has been such that, every single day, when I say load, I want to make sure you understand every day when Joy and I wake up, we don't have anything we have to go do other than we prearranged and pre-agreed to come do functions for Worldwide and speak. When we're home, it's the most awesome thing you could possibly imagine. And then by choice, at 6 or 7 or 8 o'clock at night, usually in the evenings, I find myself sometimes, not as often as I used to, I find myself in people's living rooms. Then my whole goal is to uplift people to believe that they can have it better, to stand on my shoulders and the shoulders of other bigger pins than me to believe that they can see further over the horizon. Because we see over the horizon, we see what's coming. We think economically this thing couldn't be perfect. We know what's happening. We know what our corporation's doing now in the future over the next 18 months. We know where the Amway Corporation was, and we know what they did September of 99, which was fantastic when they took this model into the internet to carry us through to this point. But I got to be honest with you, what they are about ready to do and what they are doing for us, the globalization, the money they're going to infuse into advertising and making a promotion out of this whole thing so that the normal family sitting at home can either read it or watch it and go, wow, this is a new awesome thing. In fact, those bonuses being effective this month, September of 2007, and all you got to do is stop the insanity is my line. Stop the insanity where you're at and focus on finding yourself out showing this plan to other people. I believe with all my heart, and I've said it during both sessions, I believe with all my heart, there's an enormous number of people right now, more than ever. I mean, 2 years ago, I'd bump into people in mortgage banking, and they had their heads so high in the cloud, it was unbelievable. And I said, well, what goes up must come down. And and I'm not just talking about them. I mean, it's just, it's across the board. There are people at home right now, and it's Saturday night. Man, they should be out. And some of them are out partying because they don't want to think about it. Some of them are out doing things they shouldn't even be doing. It's costing them an enormous amount of money, and it's costing them their lives, their future, their marriage. It's unbelievable. And all of a sudden, you and I walk into our home with a web tour, with a business plan. You got a dream. You got this enormous new concept that's launching over the next 18 months. It's great now. It's just going to get greater. There's going to be more money, more bonuses, more infusion. It's like the person sitting at home has never seen somebody like you or me. They've never seen anything like it. You're a couple, talking to couples, or single, you're a person with a dream. They've never seen that before. They don't even know it. They're going, that's odd. They're fired up. And then you start talking about the way life could be, and you start planning what could happen. And that is, no debt. Everything you own's paid for. Total freedom. I'll be honest with you. The person in this room or the person listening to any part of any of this, there was a time where I used to think, if I could get a corporate job making $500,000 a year, that would be awesome. I'll be honest with you, that doesn't interest me in the slightest. I actually feel sorry for the person, and please forgive me, it's not my role to make anybody feel bad, but my heart breaks for the person that has that deal, because they don't sleep at night. Because I'll guarantee you a corporate position could be here one day and it could be going fantastic for 1 minute, and all of a sudden some deal changes, and it usually has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the company looking at the bottom line, the stockholders who you'll never meet, and your job could be here today and gone tomorrow, and you've built this lifestyle up to this point, income because they're professionals in medicine, or I have family. I grew up in the Loma Linda establishment, and so Loma Linda University Medical Center, and so I understand. But even if something happened to them, you understand that probably the greatest thing that's happened in my business is Joya. First of all, she's sharp enough to do everything that needs to be done. It's so in place that I think if something actually tragically did happen to either her or I, the business continues right on. In fact, it might even grow faster. I often think to myself, if all of a sudden I wasn't there, somebody'd go, isn't this an awesome business? And go, I'm building it. And it would grow without me. Of course, that's why we have books and tapes so I can go read them and get my self-image back and, But you got to get the whatever it takes. Some of you have to get your mess fixed. Some of you have to clear some of this stuff away. And this is my message because I went through it. Some of you are letting life and what life does affect you. I mean, if I were you, I'd get my blinders on. I've done it. And I got Joya's blinders on because we had attacks from everybody. Naysayers, dream stealers, family, you name it, we were under attack. And we still made it through it because we stopped listening to all this outside, unasked for advice, and we focused on the mission at hand. And trust me, we went out and found some winners that wanted to win. And a lot of times it might suit you better to go out and get people that aren't family. They won't judge you. Remember, family love you, but they don't respect you, and they're going to judge the daylights out of you. Everything you, I'm just not 100%, but just telling you my story. But I'm excited about this new Amway.com. I'm excited about the fact that corporation wants to take this on to the next level. And I've proven to everybody as we go through this how serious we are about this business by virtue of the fact that I'm not telling my children. When we got in the business, they were 5 and 3, and we went diamond. They've never known full-time working parents ever. They've only known full-time diamonds. Now, I don't know whether somebody sees that as good or bad. I will help you with it. It's all good. Okay? Now, what's good about it is that I haven't come along and handed them their business either. I sent Trevor out, and I said, Trevor, go out and work this crazy thing. As soon as he was of age, and he said, Dad, I want to be a diamond. And then shortly after, he met Lexi through the organization. Her parents live in Las Vegas, downline from Theron and Darlene. Wonderful people, wonderful. And then they met, and I guess the point I'm trying to make is that I am so confident with where this corporation's going, what we have in Worldwide, mostly for me, what we have in this couple named Ron and Georgia Lee Perrier, that I am so calm and confident about the fact that I want my kids to be with you and moving on in this business, that's precisely what I counsel them to do. I mean, they go out and get little part-time jobs because I think everybody needs a job temporarily. I mean, I would honestly say that you have the opportunity right now. Don't go in and make a mess at your job. Please don't do that. But just look at your job as a temporary event right now. I mean, can anybody get excited? Go ahead, get excited. Can anybody criticize my thinking that I want to help my son at 23 years old not go through what you or I did? I want to help my son and my daughter be in their early 20s and be financially independent and free. I think that's my role as their parent, to guide them to financial independence and freedom. And so far, I haven't seen anything out there. And I look a little. I don't think much exists. But if something happened, I'd look at it, and I'd go, "Whoa, that's kind of cool." But it's not as cool as it. That's been my opinion. And I'll be honest with you, I think I have my family and my kids, and you guys are here, so I obviously respect what you're doing, but we have an opportunity to create such an enormous legacy. It's unbelievable where we can go in this business. We can have generation after generation after generation of free people making enormous incomes and making major differences out there, even in the area of giving, not just in the area of buying. Heck, we like to buy. How many of you love to buy cool stuff and have cool things? Well, you need to make some more money, and you'll be able to buy a lot more cool stuff and have a lot more cool things, and you'll be able to do a lot of cool things for other people as well. I mean, to me, the giving part of this business. You all have upline that one of their major goals in the business is to be able to give more to the less fortunate in country or out of country, and take care of people, their situations. It's part of the vision for building the business. It's not all about just getting rich. It's about putting yourself in a situation where you can take care of everybody else that maybe don't have the opportunity to take care of themselves. And that a lot of times that's out of country as much as in country. You're just involved in programs like that and doing different things. But we are so passionate about this business. We so believe that that's what it takes to go diamond. This is one of the greatest things you can do. And I just hopefully that you're kind of involving your kids in the dream and the vision of this business. And, some of you got in and your children were already grown and off in their own things. Some of you need to prove to them this is the coolest thing so that you'll have the chance to attract them back to you. I mean, because I'm guaranteeing you that, your kids are in that kind of an environment, whatever their age is, they're in that kind of environment where they literally need this business. They need to have everything that this business has to offer with it. And, I just think that's another thing. The rewards of the business. How many of you have a dream to be part of the greatest team? Some of the coolest things. I can't tell you how excited I am. You guys get a dream, put the blinders on, get focused, and work hard, and you'll build your business. Somebody just told me back in 1989, they said, "Hey, Glenn, go sponsor 15 to 20 people as fast as you can." We did. We went platinum. Went into platinum quality. Why? Because we demonstrated in front of somebody what it took to really be serious about this business. We put in some width. Guess what? A few people clung on to the idea and did exactly the same thing. At some point in time, you're going to end up with three that are going to catch the vision of this business. And while you're moving on to ruby and emerald, or diamond and ruby and emerald, and building some enormous income, and then you'll be invited to some enormous things called Emerald Club and other very cool things. You move on and you find yourself 6 legs, and someday soon we're going to be celebrating at a diamond club. And diamond clubs are held in these 5- and 6-star resorts all over the world. They have them, but particularly one of my favorite is every single year they have a diamond club at a place called Maui. They have it at a place called the Grand Wailea. How many of you have ever been to the Grand Wailea? That is, some of you have. Most of you haven't. Guys, don't you dare die until you have a chance to go be at Grand Wailea. Don't do that. You get to Grand Wailea as fast as you can. It is the finest hotel I have ever seen. I mean, it is just, and I'm Hawaiian, so I love that whole smell. I love that whole feel. I love the palm trees. I love the wind. I like walking out of the hotel and just feeling Hawaii. I mean, it's just not San Bernardino. It's just not, which is where I grew up. I love it. And you know that you get invited to that every single year just for requalifying a diamond. How many of you have heard of Peter Island? How many want to? Now you understand when you go diamond, then they give you first class tickets all the way over to St. Thomas, where you board helicopters that they already prearranged. They pick you up in these helicopters. They fly you over through customs on an island called Tortola, usually, which is just off the island of Peter Island. And then you pick up and you go over and you land on this private helicopter pad on Peter Island, and they take you in these little cars. You remember the movie Fantasy Island, where the little guy drives around in that little car going, deplane, deplane, deplane. They have cars like that. You get in them, and these people drive you around. The islanders from Tortola all work on this island. And you got to understand, they're not just there and they're disgruntled. They're there and they spend the entire week doting on you, taking you places, getting you stuff, getting you food, getting you a Diet Coke, just doing whatever you want to do. It's like and yet you're on this deserted type island with so very, very few people, and yet While the island itself is in a place called Dead Man's Cove, and beautiful turquoise water and stingrays swimming out just off the point there, and you just see wildlife and fish everywhere. When you go inside the little bungalows that they have for you, it's like a 5-star hotel inside the bungalow. It's like 5-star air conditioning, because it's kind of humid there when you're there. And you go inside, it's like ice, and it's just beautiful, and there's just the towels and the beds are like Westin hotel beds. It's unbelievable. And they pay for the whole thing. Your helicopter ride go shopping. I mean, the trip is I just don't know how to tell you that it's the finest thing that Joy and I have ever seen. And all you got to do is build 6 unbelievable legs, those 6 people, they all want to go diamond. So you start creating this momentum in your business. Before you know it, you'll be with us on Diamond Club, and you'll be dragging your 6 or 9 or 12 people that you want to build in this business with. Before you know it, you'll have the finest friends in the world traveling the finest places. And the only real problem you'll have is you'll wonder every time you're on the island, you'll go, I wonder what the No's are doing today. I mean, Dave Severin's favorite thing on Wednesday at Peter Island is we're all sitting, and we're sitting in these lounge chairs in the water. The waves are lapping up on us a little bit, because there's not big waves inside the Caribbean. They just kind of go, hitting a break on you a little bit. And about Wednesday, he'll just be sitting there, and he'll have a Diet Coke in his hand, and we'll all just be late. The ladies will be up and a little bit more up on the beach, somewhere, and we'll just be laying there, a group of guys, and Dave will, every year he'll go, well, I wonder what the No's are doing today. Like every year, and you're going, it's Wednesday, here it goes. And Ron and Georgia Lee Prier, I mean, it's so good. You just got to understand this. Ron and Georgia Lee Prier, man, they live the most relaxed lifestyle in the world. He's the only guy I know of that can actually wear his Rolex watch and it comes to a stop while he's wearing it. Explain that to the person next to you that doesn't get it. You got to constantly be moving, and it keeps moving. It's got this little thing in it. As long as you're moving and doing whatever, that watch stays wound and it keeps ticking. But Ron will be in full stride and it'll stop. And about 11 o'clock, I'm telling you, about 11 o'clock in the day, all the new diamonds are down on the beach going, where's Ron? Where's Ron? About 11 o'clock, Ron will walk out, and he'll come down from that. It's a real long bay like this, and the bungalows will be down at that left end, and we'll all be kind of crowded in front of the outdoor burger area and stuff like that, this place on the beach that you eat at. And like clockwork, about 11 o'clock, this is a true story, about clockwork, about 11 o'clock, Ron Perot will come out, and he'll start heading down the beach with Georgia Lee. Georgia Lee sometimes will come out earlier. Hair's perfect. His shirt's always brand new. His shorts never been worn before. And he comes out and he's got his slippers on. It's just perfect. He's tan. You just want to walk up and mess his hair up every time. No kidding. It's perfect. And he'll come out there and he'll sit there for about a half hour and he'll go, well, I guess it's time to eat. And half hour of sunning will be inside this the beach grill eating $24 hamburgers and $5 chocolate chip cookies that the normal public, if they come onto the beach, and there's not many that come there for food, but they can come on and pay. The burgers are 20, they were, when I first tripped there, I'll never forget, $24.50. The chocolate chip cookies were $5. And we'll go over there and we'll eat for 2 hours, and Ron will just cast vision and talk and mentor and teach us, and I just love it. I mean, I just love it. I heard somebody saying here, they just love sitting there and listening to Teresa Saruta just talk, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a student. When the bigger pen is sitting around for me, I am listening, baby. I am listening to everything they say. Not only what they say, but how they say it. And then after about a 2.5-hour lunch, so now it's about 2 o'clock, we'll go back out on the beach. Ron goes, hey, we better go out and catch that last-minute sun, and we'll go back out, and Ron will sit in his cot for about 30 minutes, and he'll go, well, I guess it's time for a nap, and he'll head on back to his bungalow, and we won't see him till dinner. I mean, it's just awesome, guys. The money, the income, the recognition. How many of you in this room want some recognition in your life? You want to be recognized. What happens at work? Hey, attaboy, keep it up, and all that kind of stuff. We give some unbelievable recognition in this business. I mean, right from pin recognition, where we give you a chance to I'll never forget the very first pin recognition Joy and I ever did. I was so, here I am, I'm a businessman, and we get up on stage, we're brand new 1,000 pins, and I go, I panic. I'm sweating, and I feel fainting coming on. I'll never forget it. And I go, hi, I'm Glen Baker, and this is... And I handed her the mic, and I didn't even say her name. I was a dweeb, totally, when I first got involved in this business. It was unbelievable. The shopping sprees, the money, I don't want to get, I want to talk about the real deep meanings of building the business, which are the most important reasons, but I also want to let you know there's the other side, and it's the fun, just the fun and the frill and the gifts and the shopping sprees and me giving Joya just carte, because she's such a winner, me giving her total carte blanche. Go buy, I go, Joy, I want you to look like $1 million. You go take, because before the business, it would have never happened, and she's probably more than 50% of the reason why I'm here, so she can go do whatever she wants, and she's a great steward. She doesn't go crazy, and yet she always manages to look like $1 million. And our kids, being able to spoil our kids with new cars and new things, being able to spoil her mother and my mother with brand new cars, even though they were even negative when we first got involved in this business. I mean, not negative, just kind of like, is this going to work? And then all of a sudden we got Joya's mother a Lincoln Town Car, and she goes, this is the coolest business I've ever seen. And then we bought my mom. Same thing happened. She'd always, a little bit like mom, always want to be protective. And are you sure you're doing the right thing? And are you sure? And then we bought her a Cadillac STS, and he goes, you're doing the right thing. Keep it up. This is... And now today, it's just one of the serendipities of building the business, not only the wonderful shopping sprees and all the money, but can you just picture this, having the opportunity to take my mom that's still living, and she's very healthy and very vibrant and very alive, and she's awesome, and be able to say to her, Mom, the real estate industry sucks. I want you out. Here she is, she's reaching an age where the competition is so great, it's costing her more money than she's making in advertisings and all the things. I come right down to it. And walking up to her and say, hey, we'd love to retire you. You're done. And all we want you to do, because she's very capable, is just simply come over to our house and we'll pay you. And you just take care of all of our books and pay all of our bills and do all of our tax work and make sure we're all the way up to speed with taxes. Do you understand? For the last 10 years, Joy and I haven't paid a bill. We haven't paid a tax. We haven't done tax work. Which, by the way, to be honest with you, doing taxes, I can't think of anything more miserable on the planet Earth. It's the most miserable moment of my, and yet it's a little something when you pay somebody else, they have no problem paying your bills with your money. And so she comes in, and my job is to make sure that checkbook's full of money, so every time a bill comes, she writes. Sometimes she's even writing checks to the thing a month before it's even due, and I'm going, what are you doing? Then I realize, this is a blessing, go ahead. And can you imagine having a lifestyle where you don't even pay your own bills? How many of you would think that would be just a cool thing? Come on.